Well, first of all, I want the constituents to think about their daily routine. They get up in the morning, they grab their cup of coffee, they grab their car keys or some form of transportation, and they go someplace. Most people will get in their car. They're going to be stuck in traffic every single day because of the gridlock. We look over the past decade and we see both sides not getting anything done. There's tons of gridlock in Washington, and it's affecting us every single day on our roads, and it's robbing us of time from our kids and our families, but more importantly, quality of life. So as your congressman, you need to see results. You need to see alternate ideas such as surface transportation, including the light rail, which still isn't completed right now. I want to find ways that will expand over the next 20 years so that we can find a way to spend more time with our kids and our families and our futures and less gridlock on our roads. And that's one of the objectives. And also, I want to be the first congressman from the state of Colorado to sit on the Transportation Committee because I believe that we've been missing something over the past 10 years. And being one of the fastest growing states in this country, you need to have a plan, and that's what we're going to do. Job growth is one of the biggest concerns that we hear from business owners, especially in the Metro North area. I've been to the events of the Metro Chamber. I've talked with these business owners. I feel the pains. As a small business owner in the merchant processing, I know how difficult it can be to find good quality workers. What I believe is working is that the tax cuts are benefiting everybody. For instance, my wife, who's a teacher in Jefferson County, we saw a pay increase of over $100 a month. Now, to some, such as my opponent and many others in Washington, they consider that crumbs. But to us, it's a week of groceries. To these business owners, it could be gas for their vehicles. As your congressman, we will fight to not only make those permanent, but we will also look at other ways to work alongside local city governments to not overregulate what they can and cannot do. Because that is the fear of being a small business owner. And in America today, we can't have that, to have a sustainable growth. And as your congressman, I will fight for all of our businesses to make sure that they have the tools necessary so that they can grow their businesses and fight for our kids and our families and our futures. So tax incentives are something that help businesses grow. Again, as a small business owner, I don't want to be told what I can and can't do. I think you need to keep those in place, but I also think you need to look on a local level with what your local permits are to do small projects, such as construction or building permits. I think businesses don't want to be overregulated, and right now, as we talked earlier about the gridlock in Washington and on our roads and transportation, you're seeing that as well in the business world. Businesses aren't able to do what they want. They just want to be able to breathe. I think you can continue to make it simpler for these businesses by keeping the taxes low. I think you can listen to the business owners. What I would like to do is sit down with the different chambers when I'm elected, find out the pros and cons of what they think could help them, because they are the voters and the ones that understand exactly what they need. And as your congressman, we can go and fight for that and present it to make it simpler for them. When you talk about oil and gas, recently I had the opportunity to tour some of the oil and gas facilities in our state. It is one of the #1 job providers in our state right now. We see the economic growth of being dependent on our own oil instead of foreign oil. As a congressman, I want to fight to open up all of our lands in the BLM so that we can have more resources. I've talked with these people on the grounds. I've visited it. I've heard the stories of their families, how they've changed the diapers, how the industry is helping them live a sustainable life. We don't want to take that away as Congress. And right now we are over-regulating, and we need to find someone who's going to go in there and get them results and get them the results that they need now. And I'm going to fight for that for your kids and your families and your futures. Again, over the past 9 months on this trail, we've talked to thousands of voters, and what we've heard our voters say about healthcare is that it's too darn expensive, that the deductibles are too high. Take, for instance, my own family. My wife's a teacher through the Educators Plan of Jefferson County Public Schools. Last year, our deductible was just over $5,000. Within 1 year, it's now over $7,000. Now, how is that not an increase for us? As a business owner, healthcare is one of the biggest issues that is preventing them from growing because they can't afford it and attract high-quality workers to their companies. For instance, I don't know how many of your viewers have children, but I have 2 little boys, Patrick and Oliver. Recently, one of them had to go to the hospital. We received a bill after getting taken care of for $4,000 for just a few stitches on his finger. I would like to see as Congress finding ways to repeal and replace Obamacare with different options, such as a menu list item. We get it when we go to the grocery store. We get it when we go out to eat. We get it when we buy our gas. Why not have it for our health care? A menu item. Second thing, as your congressman, I would like to see insurance companies compete across state lines. Because if you're not happy with it, move on. We were told that we could keep our doctors. I don't have the same doctor. I'm asking you if you have your doctor. Those are the kinds of questions that you need to ask yourself as business owners. There's not a perfect system, but what we can do is work with ideas that will benefit all of our families and our kids and our futures in healthcare. I think the first and foremost issue, from what I've heard the people say, is to make sure that the tax cuts are kept in place, because the business owners are thriving from it and they are able to see a relief in sight. But if we can't agree on both sides, then nothing's going to get done. Now, when you elect me as your congressman, the very first thing I'm going to do is pick up the phone and call every person of the opposite side. And I'm going to introduce myself and say, hello, I'm Mark Barrington. I represent Colorado's 7th District. I would like to find out how we can work alongside to get things done, not just for the people in the 7th Congressional, but also across this great nation. What does we need to do? In addition to that, we need to have a viable solution for these businesses with transportation, because let's face it, we talked about this earlier, we are stuck in gridlock, both in Washington and on our roads, and it's affecting our businesses every single day. And second of all, we need to find a better solution for the healthcare, as we spoke about, because they are being trapped, they're being overregulated, and they cannot breathe if government continues to tell them what they can and can't do. Finally, as your congressman, I want people to know that they can pick up the phone and call me, because technology has made it very simple for us to keep in touch. And as your congressman, I pledge in this district to make myself available, to have fun, to do the right thing, to stand up to what needs to be stood up for, to make sure that businesses aren't overregulated, and to fight for your kids and your families and your futures.